Let's talk about building organizational agility. I believe this is a very important skill to have, especially during uncertain times. I think for many leaders, the coronavirus has turned everything upside down. You're having to change your organization, respond to new challenges. How easily can that process happen? And it's not just about having an idea, but it's about implementing a new process. So if you're a leader, a manager, I think you're going to like this presentation that's all about building organizational agility. My name is Ken Okel. I'm a professional speaker. I talk to organizations about ways that you can improve performance within your organization. I want to let you know, at the end of this presentation, you will have an opportunity to download a little guide that I've put together that highlights some of the key points that we're talking about. So stay tuned for that. One of the first concepts I want to talk to you about organizational agility is all about poker or playing cards. You can't determine the hand that you're going to get when you're playing cards. You get them, and then you have to decide how you're going to react. How are you going to play those cards? That's much like the situation a lot of us find ourselves in. The coronavirus created a lot of challenges. Suddenly, your business could not run the same way. You're holding a new set of cards, and you may not be sure exactly how you want to play them, but it's important to think not so much about what's happened already, but how you're going to react. You can't change the cards that you have, but you can plan your next move. A big part of that step, find your goals. What are the things that you now want to accomplish that may be different from what you were doing before? It's important to have those targets in mind. Otherwise, you may be spending a lot of time just fixing little emergencies or addressing problems and not looking at some sort of big solution. You want to find the root cause, the big challenge that you're facing, and then see how can I fix that or make things better. That's where the goals come in. I got some good news for you though. I realize the path of uncertainty can look like this road where there's nothing around for miles. It's wide open. If you feel like you're overwhelmed by having to make all these choices, pull together some of the members of your team and start to brainstorm. Don't think that you have to come up with every answer to every problem on your own as a leader. When you're building this organizational agility, you're able to utilize the experience that you have throughout your organization. Once you've decided upon your goal, you really need to make sure that you're communicating it throughout your organization, not just to the members of your executive team. You want to make sure that everyone in the organization can understand and articulate what you're trying to do, especially if you're asking people to make a major shift. If it seems like some random instructions, they may not be embraced. They may be followed on day 1, but by day 10, well, the old way was easier. We're going to do that. This is why it's so important to communicate. And if there are stakes to communicate, like, hey, if we don't turn things around, we may not be in business much longer, communicate those. Obviously, you have to decide the level of honesty. You don't want to scare people to death. You don't want them all leaving. But if there is a real need for people to embrace doing things differently, you need to communicate it to people. Don't make it seem like there's a magic solution that you're working on. If it's going to involve hard work, let people know that is what's going to be needed. You also may need to redefine the culture in your organization. For example, in the past, when everyone is working together in the same building, you're able to quickly have a hallway conversation with someone. Say, hey, let's go to this meeting room and talk about a new idea I have. Suddenly, if people are working more remotely, you're not able to have those conversations. It's harder to do that. As a leader, you need to think about how could we facilitate that process when we are all not in the same room? How could we do that? Again, you don't have to come up with all the answers, but think about what are the things that makes your organization really good, really strong? Are those qualities replicated in a world where people may not be working together for several months or not seeing each other as much? How do you create that past culture in a new reality? Finally, you're being watched. You're being watched by your employees. You're being watched by your customers. They are expecting you to come up with plans, have an action strategy, implement them. If you're not really doing anything, they're picking up on that. If it seems that you don't really have a course of action, they're picking up on that. If you're avoiding coming in contact with employees, maybe ducking out a side entrance, they're going to notice. During challenging times, you need to make sure that you are visible, that you are articulating a plan, a strategy. You can't go into hiding. Even you can tell people, we're working on it, we'll be back to you soon. But if there's uncertainty, that's going to create a lot of problems. People like to think that you have a path and a direction and you're taking them with you. Keep that in mind. Here's the cheat sheet that I was talking about. I am going to enter in the link that you can use to download it instantly. If you happen to be watching this later on YouTube or on my website, I will also include that link in the description of the segment, so be able to get that as well. It's just my little gift to you. I hope it comes in handy as you overcome some challenges in your organization. For more about me, as I mentioned before, my name is Ken Okel. I'm a professional speaker. I talk to people about improving their performance on the job. Want to find out more about me? My website is just like my name, kenokel.com. You want to email me? Shoot me an email at tvguy@kenokel.com. Why TV Guy is an email? Well, years ago, I worked in TV news. When you go out and about in the community, people wouldn't always know your name, but they would know you were familiar. So they would yell things at you like, hey, TV Guy. That's the email. And you are welcome to also connect with me on LinkedIn. I do ask, if you send a connection request, could you just mention where we came in contact with each other, like this session we're doing right here? That way I'm able to separate you from the people who may approach me for a connection who just want to sell me a bunch of stuff that I don't need. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this segment. I hope you've gotten some value from it. Good luck in the days ahead. I'm Ken Okel. Take care.